So, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, I am Tegan and I'm the writer of Girlhood.
And hi, I'm Cecily and I'm the director of Girlhood.
Thank you. First of all, where can we see your work? Where are you going to be performing?
So we're going to be at Greenside, the Thistle Theatre for the first 2 weeks of the Edinburgh Fringe.
That's brilliant. So, is this your first time going to Edinburgh or doing Fringe theatre before at all? Have you done it before?
I've done Fringe Theatre, but I've never been to Edinburgh before, which I feel like is a kind of sacrilegious thing to say when you're in theatre. But yeah, this will be my first time at Edinburgh, so I'm really excited to be taking Tegan's play, Girlhood, and for my first time.
Yay. This is my first time that a play of mine has gone to the Fringe. I've been to Edinburgh before. I've watched Edinburgh shows before. I actually worked as front of house when I was studying at the Fringe. It was a great job.
So because you said you've been to Edinburgh before, do you have any sort of advice that you're going to use like for when you go this year, sort of thing?
To be honest, I'm actually only going to the Fringe for a couple of days to visit the rest of the team. So I think my general advice is just to enjoy it, like just to have fun. And although they're putting on a show and there's going to be nerves and expectations, like it passes so fast for audiences and the people involved running the shows. So I think we've got, just about 2 weeks. Like every single show will be completely different and there'll be a different amount of audience members in every show. And regardless, just to be a team, be an ensemble and just revel in every second. It's my general advice.
Yeah, there's just so many sort of different things that you need to account for. Has there been any struggles at all this year that that you that you're sort of wanting to sort of figure out or I don't know the best way to ask this question, but sort of what have been your struggles on taking a show to the Fringe? Like, could it be like funding? Could it be sort of like how expensive Edinburgh is, etc., etc.?
Yeah, I mean, we have an amazing producer, Sam, who has been really, really supportive. So I feel like we've been very held throughout this process. There is no doubt that Edinburgh, as a fringe festival, is quite an expensive place to bring a show, but we're making it work. And the struggle for me is that we've known about this for so long. It's like I just want us to get started now. Like I'm so excited to start rehearsals, and which will be starting in a few weeks. So yeah, I've just sort of been itching to get going. Really, that's been my struggle.
Sorry.
I don't know what I think just nerves in general is a struggle and just kind of doing everybody's expectations and the cast and Cecily's as a director or producer just kind of doing everyone proud as the team. I think that as a struggle in general, I think when you build up to anything where you're like, it's happening then, the Fringe is coming, there's so much like pressure and expectation. So just kind of more mentally dealing with that, I think as its own thing as a creative is always a struggle, especially when there's money and funding and things, other people invested in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, loud.
Yeah.
What would you say is in your sort of Fringe sort of toolkit? I don't know the best way to answer this question, but the top three things that you're gonna have like with you, like your phone or something like that, because you've already been to Edinburgh.
Well, the first one I will have in my everyday toolkit for the Fringe is the Girlhood flyer that I can hand out whenever seems appropriate and when doesn't seem appropriate. That's my first one. I guess, do you know the little booklets you get at the Fringe of all the other plays? Like, I will just be holding that around as using it as a map. I don't know Edinburgh that well. Haven't been for a couple of years, well, pre-COVID. Um, so I'm excited to see other work as well. And I guess, I don't know, I guess a bottle of water because it's probably going to be boiling and I will be dying.
I would say, seeing as I haven't been before, my three things will be three Girlhood flyers. To copy you.
Good answer.
An extra 300 flyers. Everywhere.
So are you gonna plan on doing something different, like with flyering, or are you just gonna like just?
I think
Are you
because
gonna?
it is a drama. I mean, there are comedic elements. I don't think we've got a flyer plan as of yet. There is a fun Spice Girls song in our show, which maybe we can add into our flyering routine. Yeah, that's probably what I'd say. But I don't know. I've never been flyering before, so it's all going to be new for me.
I'm hoping we can get t-shirts.
I think
Some form of
t-shirts.
t-shirts.
Yeah, I think t-shirts are on the way. Maybe a banner.
Yeah, I've still not managed to go to Edinburgh yet. I'm actually trying to go this year,
Hmm.
but as you know, it's really expensive, and plus I work two jobs as well. So when I finish like my call, I've got a meeting, and then I'm going to work after.
Yeah.
So it's quite hard to fit everything in as well.
Yeah,
So going on.
being a creative, you definitely have to juggle a lot of things. So yeah, definitely relate on that one.
So just sort of what so like with these interviews, I don't like to call it an interview. I prefer just to call it a chat. It just sounds too formal. So what is your most memorable theatre experience? Sorry, one second.
I would say my most memorable theatre experience that kind of inspired me to get into my career was I was watching The Lion King just after I'd graduated my degree. I studied drama, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I went to see The Lion King, and I realised that I was just watching how everything worked. And that got me into stage management actually. But then I realised that I actually was looking at it probably from a directing standpoint and how everything was coming together. And I think that's for me something that really sticks with me because it made me like just so passionate to be involved with theatre really.
I like that one. I think mine's also just after I graduated. I saw Bad Roads at the Royal Court. It was in like the small studio space. And I mean, it's a pretty intense play as is, but there's a moment where they turned off all the lights, every single light. It was completely pitch black you couldn't even see your hands in front of your face. And and so you could only hear like the sounds and the breathing of the actors. They just did something similar actually in the Old Vic, but I just remember being sat there in the audience, and it was kind of you had like bits of the sounds of a war and dying and a sexual assault going on at the same time. And I remember sitting there and being like, wow, you can really achieve everything in the theatre. Like you can just mess with the structure if you want, as long as it works. Like just taking something so simple and giving everyone that experience and us all in the audience. I remember being terrified. But yeah, it's just really vivid, and it was like 8 years ago.
I know. I think the similar experience I had was actually last night at 222 A Ghost Story, because the way they use like blackouts and like special effects did make me jump, and it's just like it works. It really works. So Is there a production that you wish you could have seen, like either West End,
Oh my gosh,
regionally?
I missed Sunset Boulevard and I was gutted. I was in Lapland the whole time directing Elves. I was in Lapland the whole time of Sunset Boulevard, and the things that I've heard and the pictures that I've seen, I wish I had seen that one. So if anyone has, I'm very jealous.
I also didn't see that, but it's also not up my street, so I'm passing that on. From I didn't see at the Royal Court. I just obsessed with the Royal Court these days. I didn't see the 7 Methods of Killing Kylie Jenner, and I honestly regret it every single day. I think I just missed it. Like, I knew it was there. I knew I would probably love it, and I didn't watch it, and I can't for the life of me think why I just didn't do that. Probably
Yeah,
wouldn't.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Would you? What sort of is the? Trying to think of the. I'll see. What has been your most standout piece of theatre that you've seen, like anywhere in the UK or further afield? Sorry, my voice is a bit dry.
No, don't worry. I think there's just so many good theatre. There's so much.
Oh, goodness. What a question.
Can I go for two? I could go for about five, but I think for Black Boys, I also watched that. I watched it at the Royal Court, and then I watched it again earlier this year at the West End, and also Ocean at the End of the Lane. I think they're two very different stories, but they use stagecraft in a kind of similar way. And it's very ensemble led, and they really talk about like important the important themes, but Ocean at the End of the Lane is more like child friendly and fun and magical, where for Black Boys is more gritty and down to earth in a way. And both of them I just don't think I'll ever forget.
Nice. Mine recently would be Standing at the Sky's Edge. I saw it at the National, and then we went to go and see it as kind of a research trip at the Gillian Inn recently. It's just so beautifully done, and I think the split in the decades is something really exciting, which also we have in Girlhood, the split of decades. And I think it's a really interesting concept, and the way that they do it in Standing in the Sky's Edge is so seamless. And if we can get as half as close as them, how amazing that is! I will be so pleased. But fingers crossed. I believe we can. But yeah, it was just and such beautiful performances, and it's just really heartwarming, emotional story. Also sad, but got a range of emotions, I think, which is what excites me.
Yeah, that was really good.
I've not seen it actually, which is I've literally got a list on my phone which is getting longer and longer every day. So I'm like,
Yeah.
do I just move to London and be broke?
Where do you live? Where are you?
I live in Margate, so
lovely.
sort of about an hour and a half away, so not too far.
Beachy.
Bit cheaper and so who would you say your heroes are in the theatre industry?
As a female director, I would say Rebecca Frecknell is one of my heroes. She won Best Director at the Olivier's when I was there a few years ago, and it was just so inspirational for me as a role model, like looking up to someone, it is possible as a woman to get to that level. And I think she was probably the first person. I mean, there are so many female directors now, and I'll go on a female director rant otherwise. I'll stop. But I think, seeing her win that award and just I've seen Cabaret, and it was just like a masterclass in directing for the round. So I'd say she is probably my directing role model.
I'd probably say somebody like Lucy Kirkwood. I think she's just a classic. You can't not love her stuff. You can't have not seen her work. Like, I think she's brilliant, and she's somebody who I think she's done so much, and she's still doing so much, and she will still be here in, however many 20 years. And I just think every play that she's put on has been phenomenal and so different. There's like, how can you go from like the children to the Welkin? Like, it's beautiful.
Going back to Rebecca Frecknell, I saw Cabaret a couple of weeks ago. Phenomenal. I thought it was no wonder it's received so many Olivier's. I'm really not surprised. And I saw Nick Myers, the alternate.
Nice.
She was phenomenal. Like,
Yeah, always
probably
will forever be cheerleading understudies and covers. I think having been kind of I've worked with understudies a lot throughout my career. I just think they are the unsung heroes. So if I can shout them out, I always will take the opportunity. Because like you say, they're still phenomenal, and they don't get enough credit.
Yeah.
It's cool that you say that.
I think as well sometimes, especially with like star casting, understudies are sometimes better.
Now
Like,
there's an opinion.
like obviously I can't like with Carla Delevingne's performance, I don't know what it was like, but it could have been like more like theatrical and like because most of the understudies and alternates are trained performers compared to like star casting. I don't know. My opinion.
Yes, there's pros and cons to both, I suppose. Yeah.
So, if you could work with anybody or have a dinner party with anybody, past, present, who would it be?
Question.
Question.
Maybe Stephen Sondheim. Be nice. Be cool to get him in a dinner party, have a chat, and a sing maybe.
I think I probably would just get together my favourite playwrights, Lucy Kirkwood and Alice Birch and Jack Thorne, and just be like, how did you come up with that idea? How did you do that? Like, what happened in those rehearsal rooms? Like, at what point did they form into what we see? It's the big questions I sit asking myself every day.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or I'd get Greta Gerwig as well.
Oh, 100%. And you know what? Throw Molly May Manning in that as well. I think she's quite exciting at the moment. Love to pick her brain.
The
What happened? I'd like to get the whole casting crew of Girlhood together.
Yeah, to be fair, that would be a fun one.
So going back to your show, what sort of people would love your show?
I think it is really for everyone. A big theme within Girlhood is motherhood and relationships with your mother, and that can look different for everyone, but it is still a universal fact that that's like we all came from a mother, and so I think this play explores the kind of range of how your relationship with your mother has shaped you. And so I think it really is for everyone. As a woman, I feel like this will connect with women probably quite strongly, but I do think that it is a play that is universally accessible.
I agree. And I think 100%. And I also think that even as a man, if you have you have a mother, you have a relationship with your parents, or you want to have children, or as well, Girlhood touches on people who don't know if they want children. So even though it's told from the perspective of three women, it's very it's got themes that everyone can see in themselves. And there's two boys in the cast as well, so their kind of experience are brought into that as well.
That sounds great. So, what just so you can remind us, where and where will the show be running?
So we'll be at the Thistle Theatre at Greenside, 6:30 for the first 2 weeks of the Finch. Yeah.
That's pretty. And so, where can people find you? Do you have a website? And what's your social media?
So our website is girlhoodtheplay.com. And I'm just going to get on the, I need to find the name of our Instagram, but I believe it's Girlhood. Yeah, here we go. Girlhood_fringe24 is our Instagram.
And Twitter.
And Twitter. Is it the same on Twitter?
I will double check, but I'm pretty certain it is.
Sam, our amazing producer, runs both of them.
Girlhood the Play, at Girlhood the Play on Twitter. So not the same.
So those are our socials. And yeah, you can find all the info on there. And then if you just type in Girlhood on the Fringe website, it'll pop up. So
Yep.
Fantastic. In 3 words, could you explain why people should come and see your show?
like 3 words that would describe it.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say motherhood is probably the first one.
Yep.
And Spice Girls.
I was also going the Spice Girls. I was like, that's 2 words. But I also think
You have 3 others.
I'm going to do my own 3 words. I'm going to put silly moments, and also it's kind of the other 2, but thought-provoking. Both.
Yeah. So combined, those are our 6 words.
It's our 6 words.
What would you say your favourite aspect of theatre is? So, whether it might be a good notebook or something like that.
I think this is a bit bigger than that, but I guess what I really love about theatre is we had our first read through a couple of weeks ago, and we've got a month to rehearsals. And when everyone came in, the cast and our amazing stage manager and stuff, no one really knew each other, and everyone was very polite and just hi, it's all very a bit awkward, and everyone kind of shuffled around conversations. And what I love about theatre is by the last day they'll have done 2 weeks of shows together, and everyone will be crying, sobbing, and you like a little family. I always love seeing that arc of how that changes.
Yeah, I think the sense of community in doing a theatre show is really you can't compare it to anything else. And when you're so passionate, when you're in a room with people that are so passionate about what you're creating, it just creates this amazing community and friendship, and also you create something fun. And when you are creating something so thought-provoking as Girlhood, you really feel like you're putting something exciting out into the world. I think that's what I love about theatre. And I also love this play is quite complex in that there are 3 decades happening at the same time on stage, and as a director that is the most fun challenge. So that's also something that I love.
It sounds great. I'll try. I'm trying to come up to Edinburgh, so I might be able to see it. If I can't, I wish you the best of luck. I think your producer sent me a press release. I'm not too sure for my website.
Amazing.
I think.
He's very on it.
If not, could you remind her to forward it to me?
Of course.
Because I get so many emails every day. One last thing is I for the last question is a question for my next like interview, like guest on the podcast. So do you have a question that I can ask them?
Ooh.
I love asking people from like writers and directors for their shows, I guess more maybe writers, but what their favourite line of their players.
What's your favourite line of Girlhood?
I really love the line, which has not really got much to do with the plot of the whole thing, but I would do anything for you. I would change the colour of the sky if you asked me to. I just love it. It warms my heart.
Yeah, me too. That's my favourite.
So not like, and it just so works with the character and the situation, and the scene doesn't end as positive as that, but still good.
Yeah, that's a good cliffhanger.
That's great. Thank you so much for chatting with me. Best of luck. Let me know how it goes. This episode probably will be live in about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Amazing.
Because I've got a backlog. I'll share it on my website. But yeah, best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
That's okay.
See it Fringe.
Fingers crossed. I'll try.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you, bye. Bye.